This time on Movie Reviews, we're going to be looking at Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald was directed by David Yates and stars Eddie Redmayne, Jude Law, Johnny Depp, and Catherine Waterson, among many others. And in the film, Grindelwald has escaped as he moves to Paris to find followers, while Newt Scamander, tasked by Dumbledore, is sent to Paris to look for Credence Barebone, who Grindelwald is searching for in hopes that he can defeat Dumbledore. Before talking about this film, it might be a good thing to mention what I thought of the first film. I thought the first film was a lot of fun, it was very enjoyable, and I just, all around, really liked it. I liked the characters, but it wasn't anything spectacular. Now we go into this film. Sadly, this film is anything but fantastic. Pun intended. However, it started out great. The opening scene in particular is fantastic. It's tension-filled and just an overall great scene with some great camera work and just great suspense and action. And then from there, the film just slows down and is rather boring through most of the movie. I was very bored and tired watching this. And then it picks up in the third act, which is genuinely good. This third act is incredible, but the second act is just so miserable to watch, and it's really disappointing. In this film, we have a lot of new characters on top of returning characters from the first film, and this is where a lot of the problems come in. And the new characters that come in are interesting, but they're not fleshed out, and neither are the returning characters, which feel just kind of forced in, and they just feel out of place with the rest of the film. We have returning characters such as Queenie, Tina, and Jacob from the very first film, and they just feel out of place with the rest of the film. They don't do anything that made them important to be in the film. They're just kind of there for the ride. Eddie Redmayne is fantastic, again, as Newt Scamander. This is just a very lovable character that I think is just a really fun character. He's not looking to be someone great. He's just really enjoying doing what he does with his magical beasts, and he doesn't want to get involved, and I really like that. So yeah, Newt Scamander's good in the film, but then we have other characters, such as his brother, and this new character, Leda Lestrange, and they just feel kind of tacked on, and the script makes them out to be kind of important, but really there's not enough there for me to really care about these new characters. Nagini is in the movie as a human, and it just feels kind of like blatant fan service, which is what happens a lot of times with prequel films. They want to reference stuff from the original film, and this film does that a lot, and it's kind of bothersome. One thing I can say that's a very strong point with this film is Jude Law as Albus Dumbledore. He is just charismatic as hell. He is just very fun. He's likable. He's funny and witty. He just feels like a young Dumbledore, and I thought Jude Law was such a great choice as a young Dumbledore, and he's really good in the film for the scenes he's in. He's not in the film very much, which was really disappointing because, honestly, in the boring middle of the film, when you had a scene with Jude Law as Dumbledore, I was instantly hooked. I was interested, I was engaged, just because of how good his performance is. Now let's talk about Johnny Depp, who a lot of people have been talking about as just being kind of a dull villain, and I can agree to that. He's very dull, but it's not Johnny Depp's fault. I think he does bring some life to the character a little bit. He is menacing at times, and Johnny Depp does the best he can with the material he's given. That's the biggest problem. The material he's given is not very strong. Grindelwald is just not a very interesting villain, and that's kind of disappointing when Grindelwald's name is in the title of the film and he's one of the most boring parts of the film. He doesn't really do anything in this film. In fact, a lot of stuff doesn't happen in this film. This film is extremely complicated. And literally, it's such a simple plot. It's literally the story of them trying to find Credence Barebone, and for some reason, the film goes off on these tangents, and just, it really doesn't feel that cohesive, and it's really disappointing that this might be the worst thing that J.K. Rowling has ever written. I really wish that she had at least another person helping her with the writing on this, because this just feels very poor and just not as fleshed out as it could be. It's really disappointing. However, that's not to say it's all bad. As I said, Newt Scamander is great, and the characters, especially the characters from the first film, though they don't feel like they have a place in this film, they are still likable, they're still lovable, and Jude Law's fantastic. The action scenes are, when they happen, are really good. There's some really fun scenes in this film, and the film itself is beautiful. The cinematography is some of the best I've seen from these Harry Potter films. The film looks gorgeous. And David Yates, again, does a great job of directing. But the biggest problem with the film is the script. And that's something that really gets to me as a screenwriter myself. It was so disappointing, and they set up a lot of things in this film that are definitely setting up things that will happen in the next 3 films. And I just wish they had focused more on telling this movie's story instead of trying to set up other stories. That was really disappointing about this film. But I can say I found some enjoyment when there was some. But yeah, this is a big disappointment for me. I was really looking forward to this film, especially after really liking the first film a lot, but I can't love this film. So anyway, with all that said, I'm going to give Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald a 6 out of 10. I could have easily given this a 5, but I did really enjoy myself during the first act and the third act. It's just that middle part that's just not that great. I don't know. I'm sure this film has its fans, but I'm not exactly one of them. Anyway, guys, with all that said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next review.